Hello, everyone. This is Adam Griffiths speaking. I'm the product manager on Blue Badge, and welcome to the Department for Transport Blue Badge show and tell for Sprint 23. So we should have quite a short show and tell for you this week. We've got a demo in store for you as well. On the user research side of things, we've conducted a lot of research over the last couple of weeks. We've been continuing our research with the walk-in questions, but we've also been doing some research and design work on the save and return function as well, amongst other things. So we'll provide you with more information on what we've done with user research and the actual research feedback we've had in the next show and tell. But for now, the main thing is giving you an update on where we are with the walk-in questions. As you know, the walk-in questions is a huge part of the journey. Over 50% of people who apply and under the walk-in questions. So it's important that we get those right, and we've been working with local authorities over the last few months, different private and public beta, in trying to improve the walk-in questions, and we've done some work with the users around the extra questions and the improvements we made to the walk-in questions to see how that goes. So around the proposed improvements to walk-in questions, we've been working on how citizens respond to them and how local authorities assess responses to the questions as well. Now, the interesting bit around this is the playback on this is going to take place tomorrow at 10:30 for a couple of hours. So you've got Henry and Nisa, who have been working really hard on this project and with local authorities and improving these questions. They'll be running the show tomorrow, so make sure you join in and tune into the stream. You can see there's the link there. The link will be provided on Slack, and there's Q&A via the Slack channel as well, specifically the hashtag walk-in questions channel. So like we've done before on previous Q&As, make sure you tune in, have a look at what we've got to say and what we've got to show you, and then any questions you can post it via Slack. So that will bring you up naturally with what we've been doing on the walk-in questions for the last couple of weeks and even before that. So make sure you tune in. There's a lot of information that you can learn from that. And like I said, we'll show you what we've done on the other research side of things as part of the next show and tell. So as with all of the show and tells going forward, we'll keep providing you with analysis around usage data. So for us, this is where things get really interesting, because we can measure the performance of the service against previous metrics, and also we can keep monitoring and analysing the data and to see how it changes or differs each time we release something into the service, and every time we add new features, etc. And we can really use this analysis to determine what next steps we take. But as you can see, 54.4% is the first figure you can see, and that is apply for a Blue Badge application completion rate for February 2019. So that's up from 53% in January 2019. So like I mentioned in the last show and tell, this has gone down, and we expected it to go down since we've released newer, more complicated features for some users, but we should start to see that increase now that the hard features have been implemented, and we will start to implement features like the save and return and tasks list, which we think is going to really help users a lot. It's probably the one thing users are really crying out for at the moment. So when we do implement that, we should see that figure increase. So 68% of citizens that opt to pay make a Gov UK Pay card payment on apply for a Blue Badge when given the option. So not every local authority is using Gov UK Pay, but for those who are opting to use Gov UK Pay, 68% of their applicants are choosing to pay through Pay when they're given the option. So that gives you a good indication of your local authority on what they should expect if you are in that situation of trying to decide what you do with the pay element of the service. Do you go with gov.uk Pay, or do you stick with what you got, or do you look for a different pay service? Well, that gives you a good indication of what you'd need to expect if you did integrate with Gov UK Pay. So Again, great percentage, and we'll do a little bit of a demo on the Gov UK Pay side of things after this slide. 84% of citizens that provide an email address apply for a blue badge. So this has gone up from 77% follow improved design. So on this one, what we've done is we've actually moved the email address to the top of the page when the citizen actually gets to that page. And that's great because it's proven that by having that as the first field that they need to complete, with some rewording on there in terms of letting them understand how important it is, encourages the citizen to actually provide an email address, whereas before they might not have. So that's worked absolutely well, and we're chuffed with that, and hopefully we'll see that increase, and we'll see what we can do to try and increase that even more by continuing to iterate the service. 95% managed blue badges users that used order a badge from application feature when ordering a blue badge. So again, this comes to no surprise to us. Again, this is something that we responded to from local authority feedback when we went live. Local authorities said they weren't happy with having to manually order a badge each and every time. So we've included now an order a badge button. So if you don't use an API and order badges through your own system, and you actually log into Manage Blue Badges to order badges, 95% of those badges are being ordered. And the other 5% are all being ordered manually, probably through other channels. So I'm going to do a quick demo for you now, just to give you some information about what new features are on the service, and really to focus on the pay side of things. For anyone who currently uses Gov UK Pay, who might be thinking about moving across to Gov UK Pay, this demo will probably provide you with a little bit more information to help you along. So I'm going to need to apply quickly, purely because we need to get an application where we've paid using Gov.UK Pay over to manage a blue badge service. So I'm going to do this as quickly as I can. Apologies if everybody is so used to these screens now. So I'll be as quick as I can, but it is important for me to go through this, so I won't spend too much talking about it. And I am just using as much random information as I possibly can. Won't be too long after this. These are all necessary steps in order to complete the application. So I'm going to put an email address in here. I'll put a random one in. I'm going to put a random message. Just realized I've forgotten the 0 at the start. So this is the screen that I was just telling you about on the previous slides, where the email address is now on the top, or you can see me circling with my arrow. And that has really focused the user's attention when they come to the screen, because they can now see, actually, by providing an email address, it provides far more benefits, like using gov.uk Notify and so on. And that's why we've seen, we think anyway, an increase in the amount of email addresses that are being provided. Things like main contact number are still mandatory, but these have been pushed down the pecking order just to try and encourage more people to provide their email address. So again, I'm just going to go through these quickly. I'm not going to upload anything for the sake of saving time and just getting through these. I'm not going to be demoing anything to do with any of these scans or uploads anyway, so there's not much point in me doing that. Come to the end, declaration, and then now you come into the section where it says pay for the blue badge. As a user, I can now choose to pay online if my local council is integrated with Gov.uk Pay or any other pay service. So for the purpose of this demo, we're integrating with Gov.uk Pay. So random details here. Please don't think you can use these details for any other service. This is purely for this demo. It's important that we get the information matched up, but I'll try and do that in any case. And then it'll ask them for the email address again, which is important because confirmation of the payment will be sent to that particular email address. And then it just gives us the confirmation, confirm your payment screen, which I'll just check now to make sure everything's okay. And then click yes. And then the payment has been made and the application has been successfully submitted. So now I'm going to log in to the Aberdeen LA account. Oh. That was just a in. I always get a bit nervous when I'm logging into these accounts because you never really know if it's going to work, and it should always work, but still things like that have happened before. So as you can see, the application now has come up to the top of the pile because I've just submitted it. And there's a few things as well as pay that we want to just run through, just so you can see that we've actually added some new features over the last sprint. Now, you can see David Jones there, the national insurance number and eligibility across the first line, submitted it, but we've also got a status there as well. And it currently says to do. Now we've built this into the Manage Blue badges because we've had some feedback from local authorities who actually log into Manage Blue badges to do work with application forms. And they, or those local authorities, think it would be really good to have some sort of status bar so that people logging into the service frequently throughout the day can understand what applications are being worked, what applications are in the process or completed or need to be opened, etc. So this is what it looks like now. So I can update the status to say in progress, which I've just done there. So if you go back to new applications, you can see that that particular application form now has in process on the right hand side next to the or underneath the status column. So again, we've just responded to some feedback from local authorities, and we're really happy that we've been able to introduce something like this now. It won't matter to the local authorities who don't manage applications through Manage Blue badges. If you're using our API and using your own CMS, you might not need to see this, but this is something that we think is going to work really well with local authorities who want it. The other thing that we've brought in over the last sprint is we've brought in information where information hasn't actually been provided. So you might remember from the first couple of months of going live in private and public beta, where somebody hadn't provided information, that information wouldn't have come across at all over to the application form. And local authorities and occupational health therapists weren't too happy with this and felt like it would be still, there would still be value in that information coming across, even if it just was to say that no information was provided. So you can see that that has now been iterated and it's been released as part of this service. So we're going to order a badge because there's a new feature in this section for Scottish and Welsh local authorities. As I scroll down to the bottom and I select the actual eligibility type. Now DLA has already been pre-selected because the application form was done online, and DLA is the route that I actually submitted that application through. But Scottish local authorities can now select risk in traffic because that is an actual eligibility that applies to Scottish local authorities and residents living in Scotland. We've also got a cognitive one in place for Welsh local authorities as well. This isn't on the drop-down list because it doesn't apply to Scottish local authorities, and I've applied into a Scottish local authority account, or I've logged in rather. And English local authorities won't be able to select risk and traffic over the cognitive one, for now at least, because that eligibility doesn't actually apply to English local authorities as it currently stands. So I'm going to go back to DLA and just order the badge quickly. There's nothing new as part of this service. You'd have seen this in previous show and tells when we are demoing this part of the service. Deliver to the badge holder on a standard delivery and click and continue. And checking the order before I order the badge, and now the badge has been ordered. So somebody who works within the local authority can then quickly go back into the actual application form and just change the status to completed, which then when you go back to the screen, you can see that completed is now associated with that actual application form. So if I was working within the local authority, I'd know that I don't need to do anything with that application form. But ultimately, the way that local authorities manage the application forms in this system is completely up to the individual local authority. You can change the status to completed. You might not need to do, you might choose not to do anything with the status at all, or to comply with some GDPR requirements, etc. You might decide to just delete the application form completely once it's been ordered. So there are now options there for the local authority user in terms of how they can manage that Blue Badge application form. But going back into the application form I've just submitted, given that I've actually paid using Gov.UK Pay, the payment reference provided by Gov.UK Pay has been attached to the actual application form, and the payment reference is the number and letter combination that I've actually highlighted. And you can take this one further again. So if you have signed up to Gov.UK Pay, you'll have a Gov.UK Pay account. So I am now going to log in. Show you a bit more information about what can be done when you log in. So this service has a two-factor authentication. I should have a text message, which I've just had, which gives me a verification code. I'm now putting that verification code in place. And then that should complete my login. And now I'm going to click on the actual successful payments. And you can see that the actual reference number for the application form that has recently used the service is right at the top. And you can quickly find it by the email address and so on. And you can see on the right-hand side there the date and the time it was created. So there are other things you can do now as well as part of this service, where you can actually download the CSV file. So you can download all transactions. And the really cool thing about doing that is you can actually use the filters to filter out some information that you need. And we think this is really useful, because if you're doing some reporting on a daily basis, weekly basis, monthly basis, or whatever basis that would be, you can use the CSV file to filter that information, and it will be able to give you information quickly and readily as well. So if you haven't done that yet and you are linked up to Gov.UK Pay, or you haven't got a Gov.UK Pay account, then those things are really worthwhile doing if you want to have a go. So you can click on the actual payment here, and you can see all the information that's been provided as part of that transaction. So say now, if, for example, I've in the local authority decided that that person isn't entitled or isn't eligible, or that person's called to say that they no longer want to proceed with the application form, then the option is on here in the right-hand corner just to click refund payment. I'm going to refund the full amount, and then you can see that the refund is successful. So it's really that quick, and it's really that easy in being able to manage the refund process and manage the overall payment process using Gov.UK Pay. If you go back to the main screen, you can see there that the entire thing is there and it's gone through properly. So other things relating to Gov.UK Pay then, you can configure your own pay account to determine, for example, if an email address is required, whether emails are sent on successful payment and or refund. and accepted card types as well. It's also supported in terms of the Welsh language as well. So there's multiple things that are very beneficial to you and your local authority if you want to use Gov.uk Pay. Hopefully that demo has given you some information about it that you might not have seen before, or you might have heard about it, but actually seeing it as part of a demo will now give you the confidence to take that service a bit further and use the service like we've just shown you. So that's the end of the demo. So moving back on to the presentation on the slides then. Just to make sure I'm on the right slide. Right, so we're nearly at the end already. Like I said earlier, this is quite a quick show and tell for you this week. Although I always say that, and we're already 20 minutes in. But working software, what have we done over the last couple of weeks? Well, in terms of the apply for a Blue Badge service, we've improved the guidance for Gov.uk Pay. We said we were going to introduce the neutral steps rather than specific information like contact your council when somebody applies, and now they get that more neutral response. And as I've just demoed to you, we've improved the email address capture by bringing it to the front and changing some of the wording. On the Manage Blue Badges, you can now view and update application status. There are now additional eligibility types for Scotland and Wales, and then explicitly state where applicants have not provided information at e-treatments. For example, where no information has been provided, that's now come across to the application form. And we've just demoed all of those things as part of the demo I just went through with you before coming onto this slide. As you can see in the top right-hand corner, we had planned to deliver 40 story points. As of today, or as of now, we've delivered 39. That might change between now and the end of the day, but reporting to you as it is now, we've delivered 39 points. So what goals have we got for the next sprint then? So the next sprint will start tomorrow and it'll take place over a couple of weeks. So in the design and prototype, we're going to revisit and validate the save and return journey. I mentioned it to you earlier. Henry has been working really hard with the team in redesigning that in preparation for testing with users. It's something we really want to get into the product as quickly as possible because local authorities or users rather are asking for it, and the more user research we do with users, the more clear the need is for having this part of the feature implemented. And we're going to be doing some changes as well as from the latest round of testing. User research, we're going to play back results from the IMAs assessing the walking questions, as I mentioned to you earlier, and also the local authority survey for satisfaction rate and cost per badge KPIs. So in terms of the working software on the apply for a Blue Badge service, we're going to be working on additional breathlessness questions, find local authority by postcode, improved Gov.uk Pay integration. We're going to be implementing the task list pattern and also the save and return. And for Manage Blue Badges, we're going to be displaying the order date, issue date, and rejection reason for badges that are ordered. Local authorities have been asking for this. It'll save local authorities having to contact the support service to see why or when or if a badge has been rejected. And then the ability to export all badge data for your local authority into a CSV, and also then enable DFT Valtech data analysis, for example, KPI reporting. So project updates then, we are now live. We now have a live service support portal for you to raise requests and incidents. I know local authorities already know about this, but we thought we'll just reiterate it. So please raise all future requests and incidents by using the new portal from now on. And please don't support or contact the support inbox as you have been doing over the last couple of months. The portal also has a knowledge hub and how-to guides, and service information can be accessed by logging into the portal. And you need an account to access the portal. A member of each local authority should now have one. If you haven't, then just get in touch. We have 2 new surveys for you to complete. The first one, Blue Badge Digital Service Priorities. There's a link there to the SMART survey. Please can you ask all your members of your Blue Badge team to complete this, as it really will help us inform what features you want as a priority. This is a really good survey. If you've got a bee in your bonnet, or if you want something implemented sooner rather than later, then this is your opportunity to do that by completing that survey. So please get everyone on your Blue Badge teams to complete that as quickly as you can. The other survey, Blue Badge Digital Service Performance Measurement Survey for March. Again, there's a link there to the SMART survey, and we ask that one person from every local authority should complete this. For example, somebody who's really close to Blue Badge and somebody who understands your Blue Badge team and processes very well. So somebody like a Blue Badge team manager. Please can you complete the surveys by Friday the 22nd of March. That would be really helpful. Again, surveys are really important for us in enabling us to understand what needs to be improved and when it needs to be improved and how. So please head in and complete those surveys as soon as you can. And that's the end of today's show and tell. So please again log into the next show and tell, which will be in a couple of weeks. For me, it'll be my final show and tell, as I will be then leaving the project and moving on to new things. So it'll be my final show and tell. I look forward to seeing you all in a couple of weeks. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.